Hello, YouTube. RedHeadTakes here, back again with another weekly NFL picks video. Last week was a little better, 10 to 6 in terms of my picks, so that was pretty good. But still could be better. There were a lot of weird picks that went on last week, but there were many near upsets that I almost got. So let's take a moment and just if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share, comment, all that. But let's get into it. As always, I'll be splitting the Packer Raiders video into a separate video to be released tomorrow or Friday. So let's get into it with the first game of the week, Chicago and Washington. Chicago looked surprisingly good last week. Now they were playing the Denver Broncos, who can make any team look really good. And Washington looked really good against Philly. They nearly won that game. They almost did it. It would have been pretty nice. I mean, it would have been another wrong pick for me, but it would have been cool to see. Just to see Washington, how much Washington changes their defense is really good. But the Bears, they're just not good. I mean, they totally collapsed last week. Gave Denver the ball back. Fields, of course, had a game-ending interception in the end. Now they're against Justin Fields, but this game should be, I don't know, it's a Thursday game. I think Washington should win this game. I think they have the better team overall. Their offense is more efficient. Brian Robinson Jr. should have a pretty decent game. Scary Terry should get his targets. Washington's defensive line is solid, one of the more underrated defenses in the league. And the Bears are just, I mean, they're going to win at some point this year, but I don't think it's going to be this week, not in Washington, but should be close. I mean, these two played one of the worst Thursday night games last year, and Washington won, so who knows what's going to happen. Because I do believe Washington won last year. I don't remember. If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comment section, but Washington wins this game, let's say 24 to 17, something like that. The Bears should get some points, but I think Fields is going to lose it again for them. And next we got Jacksonville and Buffalo in London. Why is this game in London of all places? This game should be a marquee matchup. But then again, Jacksonville hasn't played very well this year. They did win last week. They didn't look much better against Atlanta, but that's Atlanta, whose defense is not very good. And Buffalo just beat the Dolphins into submission last week. After that first week where Buffalo just looked awful, and Josh Allen had 4 turnovers, he's done nothing but look great the past couple weeks. I mean, he's just been so efficient, so on target. It really makes you think, yeah, Josh Allen, when he's on target, can really be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And he showed it. I think he's going to show it again this week. Jacksonville's defense had their moments last week, but again, like I said, they're playing a good rushing team. They were playing a good rushing team in Atlanta, and Bijan Robinson got the yards, but Desmond Ritter's just terrible. And he's clear. I don't think he's the guy in Atlanta. Atlanta's going to have to go quarterback shopping again in the off season, but Jacksonville should get their points. I just don't know what to make of Jacksonville. I mean, they should be scoring way more points on a week to week basis. Their drives always seem to come to an abrupt end, and they have to set for field goals. And that's probably going to happen a lot against Buffalo, because Buffalo is just a great team, great defense, and a fantastic passing attack. The rushing has been really great this year. Buffalo wins 28. No, yeah, 28 to 17. Like I said, the Jags are just an enigma, wrapped in a bag of dog poo at times. So who knows what's gonna happen. Next we have Houston and Atlanta. Like I said, Atlanta's not a great team. They have a Bijan Robinson is amazing, and Kyle Pitts just probably will never be a good fantasy tight end. It's just like who knows what to make of Kyle Pitts. I mean, Atlanta should be able to get their points, but Houston has looked great. Their defense has gotten much better. Their team is learning on the fly. CJ Stroud is looking more and more like a legitimate quarterback. He just looks like knows what he's doing, makes the right read, and he has it in the pocket. I mean, he's looked great. I mean, there's nothing else I could really say about him. He's just been a great quarterback. And probably going to bite me in the butt this week, but I'll go with Houston. I mean, I just think they're a different team. They have a great coach. You can tell he really works this guy. Of course, Houston just needs improvement over the offseason. So, whatever their season record is this year, it will be better than last year, and that's a sign of improvement. And that's really all they need because they need to build more through the draft. Their offensive line still needs work. They still need a couple more pass catchers, but they're moving in the right direction. They look great, and I think they're going to beat Atlanta. And Atlanta's slowly going down the hill. I mean, Bijan will still get his carries, but it's just Desmond Ridder is a such a terrible quarterback. You just can't depend on him. So Houston wins 24 to 21. Next we have Carolina and Detroit. No, Detroit's probably going to win this game. After they just mauled the Packers last week, I know that the game was just awful. Carolina had their moments to win against the Vikings last week, but again, they fall short. They just don't have much to say about Carolina. Another team that's just rebuilding. So what happens this year is just going to be that. And Detroit looks like a real juggernaut in the NFC. Probably match up well against most teams in the NFC and the league as a whole. They're getting Jameson Williams back early, so it sounds like he's going to have a limited role this week, but that'll grow as the season goes along as he gets worked into the game flow. But he's a great receiving threat, and he's going to be a big option for Detroit going forward. Jared Goff is going to love having him back. But I think Detroit wins this one pretty handily, 28 to 14. Next we have Tennessee and Indy. What was thought of earlier or before the season started as probably a bad game now looks fairly interesting. Anthony Richardson has played a very great second half after having a very dismal first half, and Tennessee has a great defense. Derrick Henry is running well again, which bodes well for them. Sure, Tannehill is still kind of a mess, but they should be able to. I think this will be a really interesting game. Indy's defense has performed fairly well this year. And like I said, Tennessee's defense has probably been the most underrated defense of the year. I mean, they just stop the run. They just do. Now Jonathan Taylor will probably be playing this week, but again, it'll probably be more so of a limited role, so make of that what you will. Probably not a starter in fantasy just yet, but it's good to see that he'll finally be back. It'll just be nice to see him play without any injuries because he's a great running back and a great talent. Derrick Henry still has it going on. As long as Derrick Henry keeps chugging along, Tennessee is going to be a formidable threat. Combined with that defense, as long as you can run the ball with Derrick Henry, you're going to miss out on many opportunities against him. So, Indy, if they want to win this game, are going to need to take advantage of Ryan Tannehill mistakes, get a pick or two, because if Derrick Henry is running downhill, which he has several times against the Colts, it's not going to be good for them. But Anthony Richardson is a real X factor. Still don't think he's a great NFL quarterback overall, but in terms of fantasy, he's a good buy. If he's still available in your league, you should totally pick him up. Even if you don't start him every week, he's a good stash so that the rest of your league can't kick your ass with it. But it's going to be an interesting game. I think Tennessee wins ultimately, 27 to 24. It's going to be a very close game, but Indy's gonna have to keep Derrick Henry under wraps. If they can't, it's gonna be a long day for them. That's for sure. Next we have the Giants in Miami. What to say about the Giants? I mean, Daniel Jones just got sacked 11 times on Monday night. He threw a really bad interception that ended up being a 97-yard pick six, and they just don't look great. They just have no running game. And as long as Saquon Barkley is not out, they're just not gonna get it. I mean, Darren Waller is a great tight end, but it's just he's so oft injured, and it's just so you're paying him a lot of money, and he's just don't think he's out there anymore. I mean, he's still a great body when he's in there, but when is he in there? And they don't have a lot of receiving threats. Just have no time to throw the ball. I mean, everybody's gonna put dogpile on Daniel Jones, but ultimately, the Giants front office never should have given him that contract. They could have just given him the 5th-year option and to avoid paying him all that money, but live and learn, I guess. And then we have Miami, who just got stomped on by Buffalo last week. They should be back, ready to go. Devin Eshane should have a good game. Mostert, if he can stop fumbling, defense should be able to get back to where they should be. They should be able to chow down on the Giants' um, not very good offensive line. And if Saquon Barkley doesn't play, boy, it's going to be another long day for Daniel Jones. And it's in Miami, so I give them the boost. Tyreek Hill should be back at it this week, and Waddle as well. Yeah, it's probably not going to be a good game for the Giants. I think Miami wins 35 to 14. And the 14 on the Giants might be generous, but they seem to be able to score on the road this year. Just don't ask them to score a touchdown at home because they haven't been able to do it yet. Next, we have New Orleans and New England. With the news coming out that the Patriots traded to get J.C. Treader back, wow, what a big loss that was for the Chargers. What a bonehead mistake that was. They're still paying him his salary to play on another team. And the Patriots need it with several cornerbacks injured and with Christian Gonzalez likely out for the rest of the year with a separated shoulder or with a dislocated shoulder. Who knows what's going to happen? And hopefully Derek Carr can be back to where he should be because, yeah, you could tell they were missing a lot. I mean, Olave just didn't have it. Had like a couple targets, but only like one reception. Alvin Kamara had like 13 receptions, but for only 33 yards, so that's not good. But in terms of fantasy numbers, you're looking at that as a good thing going forward. Their defense didn't play very well against Tampa Bay. They're kind of shredded, even though Mike Evans went out. Man, it's going to kill me. I want to pick the Saints, but I don't know if I can. It's in New England. I'm gonna pick the Patriots begrudgingly, just unless I know that Derek Carr is playing and is going to be somewhat better than he was last week. I just can't see New Orleans winning this game, even though New England's offense is atrocious. Their defense is just good, and they should be able to get to Derek Carr this week. So Derek Carr better be able to protect himself, because otherwise it's going to be a long, painful day. Patriots win 24-21, but Saints can still win this game, obviously, but I gotta go with the Patriots. Can't be a homer in this one. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett got hurt last week, but it sounds like it's just a bone bruise, so he should be able to possibly play. Baltimore, like we've said the past couple weeks, is just so injured, so injured. What is going on with them? What did they do to deserve this? Like, my God. But I mean, these games between these two are generally low scoring. Pittsburgh needs to have Kenny Pickett playing, otherwise they don't stand a chance. But their defense has been looking great for the most part, except for last week, where Houston just shredded them all day long. I'm gonna go with Baltimore. It's in Pittsburgh, but I don't know if I can go with Pittsburgh. Just depending on the health of Kenny Pickett, he'd probably be a little injured this week, probably in a little bit of pain, but at the very least, it's a good thing for Pittsburgh that it sounds like he avoided a serious knee injury, which they could not afford. It would be a bad year, but again, Najee Harris is terrible, and their offensive line, while somewhat better, still not great. I think Baltimore has more than enough weapons to win this game, but it should be a close game, 17-14. Sounds like a traditional Baltimore-Pittsburgh score at the end, and Baltimore wins. Probably bite me in the ass, but I just don't have a lot of faith in Pittsburgh right now. Next, we have Philly and that way Rams. Rams look great last week against the Colts, even though they nearly blew that game. And Philly nearly blew that game against Washington, so both the coming off games where they very clearly could have lost. But Philly's defense, again, is great. The rushing attack, great. A.J. Brown had a great game, and if it keeps up, it's gonna be a great, another great one for him. hopefully Jalen Hurts plays better because Washington was able to get to him last week and hold him under what he probably should have done. And for the Rams and Puka Nakua, he's just been fantastic. Hopefully, he can continue that historic streak. I mean, it's just incredible the streak that he's at. Kyron Rome still a good up and coming running back. Their defense is still not that great, but they have their moments as well. Philly's defense, one of the best in the league. They're going to need to be able to get to Matthew Stafford and make him throw picks and other things like that. I think I'll go with Philly to win this game. It's in LA, but I think Philly has more than enough firepower to win. I like them to win 28-21, but Puka Nakua should get his receptions. I mean, he's just a solid wide receiver. He can just run all the routes. He has great hands, and he's just gonna continue that streak for however long as he can. Maybe this is a week where he finally has a really bad game, but who knows? Arizona, Cincy. Boy, if you're a Cincinnati fan, you gotta be concerned. You have to be concerned. I mean, Deegan's got hurt last week. They haven't been able to run the ball at all. Joe Burrow just doesn't look great at all. I mean, he's probably injured still. It's just like, man, when quarterbacks miss that preseason, again, it hurts. We've seen it with Aaron Rodgers several years in a row when he doesn't play the preseason and then he comes in, he looks like garbage the first couple of weeks. But we're into week 5 now. I mean, Arizona isn't a great team, but honestly, I think I might pick Arizona to win this game. I just don't have any faith in Cincy. Their offensive line is just dreadful, and it's just Burrow has no time to throw. And as good as Jamar Chase is, if he can't get the ball down the field long enough for Joe Burrow to get him the ball, it's like it doesn't matter. They're not going to win the game. Their defense is good, but it's just like they were shredded last week by Derrick Henry all week, and just Tennessee in general. I just don't have a lot of good things to say about Arizona, but their defense has been fairly decent, and they did put up 16 points against the Cowboys last week, so right, not the Cowboys, the 49ers last week, and caused me to lose a couple fantasy games, but I don't know. I'm going to go with Arizona. It's in Arizona. I mean, this pick will probably burn me in the ass, but I don't have faith in Cincinnati. And Arizona has shown the ability to potentially upset teams this year, so I'll go with Arizona. Maybe in a lower scoring game just because Cincinnati hasn't been able to score a lot. But Arizona wins 21-17, and even 17 for Cincinnati might be a bit generous considering how well they performed in the offensive department this year. Next, we have the Jets in Denver. Boy, what a barn burner this will be. Jets have no offense whatsoever, although they did play very admirably last week against the Chiefs. I mean, it's just, they were so close. They got so close to pulling off one of the biggest upsets of the year, but of course, the Chiefs pull through. In Denver, coming all the way back down 28-7 in the third to beat the Chicago Bears, intercepting Justin Fields at the end to win it all. And boy, I don't know what to make of this game. It's the battle of the head coaches and their terrible commentary, and it's just like, it's just so mean spirited. It just, it's so terrible. It's so stupid. Sean Payton has made himself into more of a clown than he even was during Bountygate with New Orleans. It's just, man, what a matchup. I'm not looking forward. I would not look forward to watching this matchup at all. Denver wins, I think, 21-14. I don't know. I have no I have no finger on this game at all. I have no idea how to go. It's just going to be a big old mess. Two bad teams that aren't going anywhere. Two teams that aren't making the playoffs. And it's just, yeah. Denver wins, but I don't know how confident in it I am. Next we have Kansas City and the Vikings. Vikings finally get their first win of the year last year. KC barely beats the Jets. Though Pacheco had a great game last week. The less I talk about Isaiah Pacheco right now, the better. I lost the fantasy matchup by 1 point last week because of him. So, Kansas City, their offense should be rip roaring ready to go against a terrible Minnesota defense. Jefferson should have a great game against Kansas City, and it's probably going to be a high scoring game, I would think. I think Kansas City ultimately wins, and the Vikes go down to 1-4, which would be really hard for them to come back and make the playoffs from. But I think Kansas City has more than enough firepower, but Vikings have enough firepower as well to potentially upset, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it just because Kirk Cousins is not the most reliable in big game situations. And yeah, Kansas City wins 35 to 28. And last but not least, we have Dallas and San Francisco. Probably the marquee matchup of the week, or the one that people are going to talk about the most. San Francisco has been nothing short of spectacular all year. Defense, great. Debo, great. Ayuk had a great game last week. Christian McCaffrey's just been at a historic pace all year. As he continued last week, Brock Purdy is a great up and coming quarterback that probably just needs to show a bit little more before he can be in the elite quarterback status. But because of that team around him, he's going to get better and better and better. And I love Brock Purdy. He's a great quarterback, a great find by San Francisco. And just in Dallas, again, their defense played very well against New England, but a lot of defenses can play well against the New England's terrible offense. Dak's going to just have to avoid mistakes in this game. Need to find CD Lamb a lot. CD Lamb's going to need to have a big game this week for them to win. Tony Pollard hasn't been great of late, but hopefully he can get in there this week. I think San Francisco wins. Should be a great game, 27-24 in the finale. I think San Francisco wins, but there's my picks for the week. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it around, comment away. If you think I'm wrong about anything, let me know. But I just love doing these videos. I love making picks weekly, even if they don't get a lot of views. If you like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. But have a great day, and as always, God bless. Go Pack Go.